Hey everybody, welcome to our Q&A AMA. It's July 18, 2023, and I'm Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full-service CX and UX agency and consultancy, always looking for more projects and adventures, so check us out at customercentricity.com, or if you're not looking at hiring us, go to deltacx.com. This is Ask Me Anything, where I stay here for about an hour to take your questions, so you can ask them, is this the right arm? Yes, at deltacx.com/links, or you can ask them live in the chat. Quick question, I've got a fan running next to me, which might be noisy, and I've changed some of my camera settings. So I have questions like, does my voice match up with my face? If not, I will change them for the next show, but I can't change them now. Also note that my cursor is showing up on my face today, and there's nothing I can do about that. So it is what it is. As always, I forgot to do it this morning, but I want to thank everybody who is supporting either of our YouTube channels, both the Delta CX channel and this one here, Customer Experience, Customer Centricity, where I hope you will subscribe. And yeah, it's totally optional, but always appreciated. Thank you to past, present, and future people supporting us and keeping me in streaming software and delicious cheese. Hey, I-10, prototyping and watching. Cool. Good luck. Try some Axure, not sponsored. So we did get some questions ahead of time. I'm going to start with those. And honey, is my voice synced up to my face? Someone can help me out with this? And does the microphone sound okay? I hope you don't hear the fans and the air conditioning too much. But let's take a look at our first question. We got some interesting questions today, and you can send them ahead of time. Okay, great that it's synced. It looks out of sync to me, but if it looks right to you, that's all that matters. Alrighty, this one says, recently I was laid off from a startup company, which I was an unpaid intern for several months due to cost savings. Yes, I tend. I'm not calling you honey. That was for my husband. That would probably not be appropriate. Aaron, sound okay, thanks. Yeah, and also I turned on my camera's beauty, what do you call it, auto touch-up. So I just tried to smooth things out a bit. Oh no, why is my stream blipping? I'm on carousel. All right. Anyway, did a little beauty face with my new camera. It has these settings that means I don't have to put on a lot of makeup, and I think it mildly de-ages me nicely. So, you know, heads up there. If you meet me in person, I look a little older. Okay, this question says, recently I was laid off from a startup company in which I was an unpaid intern for several months due to cost savings. We were in the process of going full-time. The CEO was even preaching that he was speaking to many VCs that were interested in the company. How am I supposed to know who and what companies or startups to trust these days within this terrible market when they promise something but the exact opposite happens? Okay, so first of all, total sympathy and empathy for this person. Many of us have been there where we wanted to join an exciting company or a new startup. The money wasn't totally there yet. They were promising it was coming. Maybe they were honest about this being unpaid, at least to start. Maybe they were not honest about that. So number one, my first piece of advice here is, what did your work contract say? Everybody should have a work contract, whether you're an employee, a contractor, a freelancer, an agency, full-time, part-time, project-based, paid, unpaid. All of these things should be in a work contract. Yes, it's okay to have a work contract even if you're not being paid. It's a good idea because there are still other things about this relationship that you want to agree to. Now, when it comes to a startup who doesn't pay you, you have the choice to walk away, especially as an unpaid person and especially as an intern. And you might feel, no, I need this internship. I'm trying to move my career. Maybe, you know, did you end up with, I don't know how long you were there or if you're still there, but did you end up with amazing work that you can put in your portfolio? At many startups, people don't. At many startups, they're not allowed to do good UX research, great content strategy, or excellent interaction design and information architecture. The emphasis is on speed. Let's just get something out and see what people think of it. And they ignore our old friend, the human-centered design process, represented here vertically, though of course it's fluid and cyclical. So ultimately, who can you trust in a down economy like now? Nobody. You know, Microsoft just did another round of layoffs. So who can you trust? Nobody. Basically, the way I see it is no job is stable. That's why we have to do a lot more in our lives and our decisions to save money and put money aside where possible. For some people, it's not possible, and I get that. It's luxury and it's a privilege to be able to save money. But if you can, do it. If that means living in a cheaper place for a while, consider it. It may or may not be the right decision. Some people live with family or live with friends so that their rent is lower. Totally up to you. May or may not work for you. But these are ways to save money, not so that you can blow that money, but that you can put that money aside. I always recommend that people have at least 6 months of money to live on in the bank, for that just in case. And we've seen that in this bad economy, even some well-known people we like on LinkedIn who we thought would easily get a job within weeks struggled for 9 months to find a job. My last job ended a year ago. And I'm going to be starting my new job soon. That sure took a while. And what do you think I was living on in between? And that's bad news for my savings, but at least I had the savings. So, it's hard to save money in a down economy. It's hard to save money in this upside down world. So thing one, make sure over time, as much as possible, you have some padding. Number two, it's up to you whether or not you want to work for a company that's not paying you. You don't have to. It is optional. You can walk away. You can say, I'm sorry, this doesn't work for me. You said you were going to pay me. It's been a month. It's been 2 months. It's been whatever. I'm going to have to move on. You can stay there and apply to other things and try to get something else to go to. You also have to check your contract for when can you quit. I-10 says, I always look for a job on the side. You never know. Anything can happen in this economy. It's nice to know what's on the market, who's hiring, who's not. That's right. Even if you're not looking and you like your job right now, you can always check out jobs. You may or may not apply. Looks like an anonymous question is coming in. We'll grab that, though we already have 3 questions, and this is number 1, so please be patient. So anyway, who can you trust? Nobody. Jobs just aren't stable. When the richest companies on the planet are laying people off, when we know they have the money to pay them, there's just no stability anymore. So the best you can do is protect yourself by trying to have some savings you can live off of, and by making sure you have a good work contract that says what's going on here. If these people sign a document that says, yeah, we're paying you 1,000 euros a month for your internship, or 2 cents, or whatever it is, and then they don't pay you, you have to decide whether or not you want to take them to court or fight them in some way. Sure, that takes time and money, though some countries will let you sue another company, not just for the money they owe you, but for the costs of your lawyers. So hypothetically, if you win that case, you get your lawyers paid. The downside is that with a company like a startup, they're more likely to just go out of business. And then you might have nobody to sue, they might not pay you, and even when you win in court, that doesn't mean that they pay you. So it's a very complicated issue. I can't say there's just one way to go. Something to think about. Yeah, Chiwat says, are you trying out a different filter this morning? Looking good. I am. I turned on the filters in my new camera. It just smooths out a little bit, so it's a little de-aging. I can turn it off and you can all laugh at what I actually look like. Hold on, let's see if we can do that live just for the comedy. Okay. There you go. That's the reality. So the reality is a few more lines around the eyes, a little bit dark circles on the eyes, a little darker over here. So that's what this is doing. A little better, right? Just looks like I have really good lighting. So I think especially if YouTube is judging people on their beauty, and supposedly beautiful people do better in the algorithm. I'm not that beautiful, but hopefully this camera helps me a little bit. So I know Chiwat says cheater. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do. I hate putting on makeup, so it would take me so long to try to look anything like this. All right, let's look at some comments that are coming in that are not about my AI touched up face. Let's see. Michael's here. Hi, Michael. How have you been? Sometimes you need to create your own job. Look locally or online. Companies needing help offer a grand redo of their interface and get paid where possible and have a freaking contract. We've talked about that so many times over on the Delta CX channel, so you can always search YouTube for things like Delta CX freelancing. Karen, startups don't have enough money to pay their employees or contractors. In these cases, they may offer a share of the company exchange for their work. Do not take that. A contract is then made to specify the person's percentage of ownership in the company. I've been working in this place for 2 months. Nothing has worked out. Sorry if things are lagging or blipping a little bit. I can see my internet was a little slow there. Sorry about that. So yeah, I always advise people to never agree to a percentage of the company. You rarely get anything from that. First of all, if this company falls apart, you got nothing. Second of all, if this company gets an investor, your percentage gets smaller. This is what's talked about when you see people talking about dilution. An investor or a VC comes in and shares get diluted. And it's usually because of the amount that the VC is investing, the percentage they expect to own, and a change in the valuation of the company. I won't go too deep into this, but I happen to know a few things about it. So you might own 10% of that company now, and if a VC comes in, you might own 1%. And then the other problem is you can't sell those shares to anybody usually. So if Karen says, F this, I'm out of here, I want the value of my shares, they might not have a value. There might not be, you can try to sell them back to the company. What are they going to give you? You can't sell them out on the public market. You can't sell the shares to me. So what is the value of these shares? And when will this company have any value? Unknown, could be never. So I do recommend against the offers of equity or shares or a piece of the company or stuff like that. It rarely turns into money. I think if you value my work, you just pay me, and you know, the end. So hopefully we've had some good conversations around that. We next have a long question that was sent in a few days ago, I think. So let's get that up here. We'll need to make the font a little smaller. There we go. To our anonymous, not anonymous friend who has asked this question. It says, hello friends, I'm interested in learning about the offboarding process that users must follow to delete their personal accounts or unsubscribe from something. While onboarding teams strive to optimize smooth transactions, canceling or deleting subscriptions or accounts can often be made difficult through the use of dark patterns, also known as deceptive design, and added friction. My questions. What are your thoughts on the conflict between this business goal and usability? How can we resolve it? Are there any established design patterns we can use to say goodbye to the user in a way that ensures they will remember our product or service positively and consider returning the next time they need it? Thanks for the answer. This is a super question, and one I think we've never gotten before. So it's always fun and exciting to get some fresh questions and answer them. Let me also grab the anonymous question. Someone's referencing a LinkedIn post. That might be a little bit tough. I'm not prepared to share my screen today, but we'll see what we can do. You're still 2 questions away, anonymous person with LinkedIn link. We have someone before you. Okay, so let's go back to this question. There's a lot of questions within this question, and that's totally cool. Okay, so let's start with Okay, so first of all, the scenario this person asking the question sets up is absolutely true. We definitely see the difference between we want smooth onboarding and we want to make it easy for people to join this and get started. And then we often see purposefully friction-filled offboarding, where if someone is looking to downgrade or cancel or download all their data or put their account on pause or one of those types of things, it's often very, very difficult. There are, the mildly difficult would be multiple steps and are you sure and do you want this discount and can we just keep you here? And then of course there's even more difficult ones where you have to call the company and magically they keep hanging up on you. Hey Ader, look at what Meta does and do the exact opposite. Yeah, I feel you there. That is certainly true. And I think I even wrote about that in my book, about how, at least when I deleted Facebook in 2017, your account stayed active for 2 weeks. Even if you deleted it, even if you're unsafe and you're being stalked, you can't log in, but people are viewing your account, they're commenting, they're sending you messages. Totally deceptive design to convince you you're missing out on all of these people commenting and sending you messages, so you don't want to leave. So what do? I think the answer is in the question, the way this person has asked the question. When we think about offboarding, you really have two main options. If we had to boil it down to two, you have the option to make offboarding smooth. So that if people are leaving, they're hopefully leaving with a semi-positive last moment of experience with our company. Or you have the option to make that full of hell. Difficult to do, call this phone number, send us a registered letter with a blood sample, you know, that's up to you. And so number one, the first thing I would say when having these conversations inside of a company is, what are our company values? Do we have company values? Have we written them down? There are probably things like honesty, integrity, transparency, maybe even, everybody say it with me, empathy. And if we have these positive company values, then hypothetically, doing something dirty or tricking people or making things difficult for them run against our company values. So if this company has values, bring that into the conversation. Hey, we claim to be honest, transparent, empathetic. We put the customer first. If that's true, then we have to make leaving us easy, and we hope that it leaves a positive impression on people in case they want to come back, or say to people, this company wasn't right for me, but it didn't suck to leave them. You might like them. So let's start there. Let's start with what are our values. If the company doesn't have written down values, especially if it's a startup and you're dealing right with the founders, ask them what they want their values to be. Because those values will be expressed through design. Are we honest? Are we transparent? Oh, hi, Drew. Good to see you. I've abandoned the idea of returning to companies when they've deployed deceptive design, especially auto-charging after a trial. Yeah, absolutely. In some cases, the deceptive design and the sneaky trickery make us want to never come back again and tell people how much they suck, and that's a decision. The companies can decide to do and be better, which is what I think this question's really about. So, how do we resolve the conflicts between these two things? I've always said, and I'll say this to businesses if we're sitting in a meeting room, I believe that all relationships should be easy to divorce. I believe that if things aren't working out with a romantic partner, it should be okay for everybody to walk away. And if things aren't working out with a company you're doing business with, it should be okay for everybody to walk away. It wouldn't be comfortable or appropriate for one person in a romantic relationship to bully the other person and make it hard for them to leave. We think of that as abusive. So I don't want to make it hard for someone to leave. And in fact, anyone who's ever hired my company, if they've looked at my contract says there's no end date. Work with me if you want to. There's no exclusivity. Work with someone else if you want to. And if you want to fire me, you can fire me at any time. Just know I'm probably keeping the money you gave me. There may or may not be a refund, and you might owe me money. But other than that, you can stop working with me at any time for any reason. And companies have taken advantage of that for different reasons. So I believe in the friendly dissolution of a relationship if it has to happen. Are there established design patterns we can use to say goodbye in a way that lands positively? Yes, certainly if this is the kind of service where you've been holding on to data for people, if they have saved things in your system, like think of Excel or Monday.com or Airtable or a social media network, you want to, number one, ask if they want all of that deleted right away. Maybe you want to give them the option of, we'll hold on to this data for a few months in case you want to come back. So maybe you give them the option of, hold on to my data a little bit or delete all of my data. These are friendly things we can do. How about free download of your data? Hey, here's a zip file of all of your data. Would you like to download your data? Chiwat says, as a user, I've been persuaded to renew a subscription with a really good offer when I try to unsubscribe. But I still feel that they should have made that offer before I threatened to unsubscribe. Yeah, this is what we typically call the retention department. These are the people, when you call up a company to cancel, they hand you to a special team whose job it is to find some sort of deal or offer to keep you. I agree that in many cases you can get a good offer and sometimes you stay, and that's okay. I think there's nothing wrong with a company making that good offer, but I agree with Chi Watt. Why wasn't that the offer to begin with? Why can't everybody get that offer? Because otherwise companies start training us that we have to call up and complain or threaten to leave just to get a better deal. And it leads some of us to do some of these things that we don't want to do. We don't want to call up. We don't want to complain, but we want the better deal. Now we have to put on a show to get it. I remember, I think it was Stephanie Walter talking about when she goes to buy something online, she puts it in her cart and then she goes to leave the website to see if they offer her a coupon to buy it now. Like, oh, it looks like you're leaving. Here's 10% off if you buy it now. And then she's like, yeah. So, ultimately we can do these things, but, it's a game and people will play the game right back. So I think to our anonymous, not anonymous person who asked the question, and please let me know how I'm doing. You can always send a follow-up to deltacx.com/links if you don't want to write in the chat. It's not that there's an established design pattern. I think that to me, the design pattern, it really depends on what type of product or service or system this is. I would want to make people's data available to them. I would want to make it clear whether we're holding on to that data or deleting that data. I would want to give them a choice of if that data is going to be kept or deleted. I would want to make it clear if I'm charging people if I keep the data. So yeah, I think the design pattern is honesty and understanding what the user needs during this time of disconnection, and that making it harder doesn't change much. You're still, if someone really wants to cancel, they're going to cancel. It reminds me, there's an old comedy sketch by Mitch Hedberg, who unfortunately has passed away, but he does a joke about how a lot of things in America, when they used to advertise them on TV, they would say, you could have this with just 4 easy payments of whatever amount of money. And he used to do a joke about how, I think there should be 3 easy payments and 1 really difficult payment. And I can't remember the rest of the sketch, but it was something like, because you had to mail in the payments. That's how old this was. He was like, the stamp, your stamp is the wrong denomination. The envelope won't close. I don't remember. It's a whole thing. You can look that up. But, there isn't a great reason to, stand in front of a door when someone is trying to leave and be like, no, you can't go. That's, you can try that, but that person will probably still go. If we say you have to call us up and listen to a support person, read you a whole bunch of things, fine, I'll do it. I had a $2 a month subscription to an online newspaper, and I decided, you know what, I'm not too happy with their journalism anymore. I'm just going to cancel it. I'm not reading it. Neither's my husband. The end. I don't want to spend I don't even want them to have my $2. I had to call up to cancel a $2 a month subscription. And what discount can you offer from there? It's already almost free. But yet here's this poor woman trying to sell me on some whatever. So normally I'll call up and say, hi, I'm looking to cancel today. I just, to make the most of your time, I just wanted you to know there is no other offer that I'm interested in. A discount won't keep me. It's probably the best use of your time to just please cancel me. And usually they say, oh, okay, thanks. Karen says, I love the way you can tie it to company values. The ethical design chapter 2. I think it's chapter 3. Yes, but certainly the ethical design stuff. And I have a new article about company values. So you can certainly, it's after the book, but it's there. So it's on Medium. It's on my new LinkedIn newsletter, but you can go to Medium. You can always go to rbeford.com. That's our Medium publication. And you can find my recent article, and it was something like company values should guide decisions, strategies, and products. Something like that. So you might have to show that to someone else. All right, third question. We're doing super long answers today. We might not get to too many questions, but hopefully this is helping, and I think the conversations are interesting. This was a question that came in earlier today, and it was also fresh. I've not seen a question like this before. So thank you for an interesting question. Okay, just checking I'm not missing another question. Okay, this says, I have a hard time understanding what UX strategy is. If it's the path to achieving an outcome, what components make it up? What does it look like to create a strategy? Do we need separate strategies for research, IA, interaction design, or design system? Or can they be included in one overarching strategy? Seems to me like planning, and I'm confused about the differences. Can you please help? Yeah, absolutely. Great, interesting question. So planning is planning, I would say. Planning and project management I would put together in the same bucket. And then strategy I would put in a different bucket. To me, strategy is the way that we've decided we're going to try to achieve certain goals. So let's say that we're looking more at the project level and not at the whole company level. The conversations are interesting. Please continue. Thank you. Who said that? I'm going to flip over to LinkedIn. So let's talk about strategy while I see who said that. Oh, I might mess up people's names. Please excuse me. Jabulil. I don't know. Where does the emphasis there go? But thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay, so let's say we have some goals just at the project level, not the company's goals. Let's just say at the project level. Let's say at the project level, we've decided we need to redesign our checkout. Or at the project level, we want to see more users buying stuff. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Okay, what's the strategy? How will we strategically get there? Tactically is the work. Tactically, we know we should probably do some research. We should do some prioritization. We should do some design. We should do some testing. We should have engineering build something. That's the tactical work. So strategically, how are we going to approach this? So we can take a look at our goal, like we want more people to buy or convert. Now, how are we going to get there? What's that strategy? Is it the planning of the project? No, I would say it is higher. It's on a higher level than that. So do you need separate strategies for everything? No, to me, the strategy is the strategy of the goal or the project. So if we're looking at how can we take our existing, let's say it's a shopping or e-commerce system, and see if we can get people to buy more often. Well, that could mean anything. We really don't even know. And that's where we need to get strategic. What's going wrong? What could be improved? We could guess, but we might be wrong. Strategy to me is not about guessing. Strategy to me is about knowing and making great decisions and coming up with the right initiatives that are more likely to achieve our goals. So that would mean we might say, we want people to buy from us more often. What could we make better, or what are we missing? We don't know. Let's get our researchers to spin up a project to take a look at what's going on on our site, and why people buy from us, and what they do before and after they buy from us, and how they interact with competitors. Let's learn everything we can about this space right now in mid-2023, because it might not be the same as when we did that study in the pandemic 3 years ago. So now that we have, let's say we do that, and let's put up our usual human-centered design. We've done some research. It's over here. We've done some research. Now we have insights, we have evidence, we have knowledge, we have suggestions. Now we can say, now that we've seen this, we see we can write problem statements. We see some key problems here, and we see that some room for improvement or room for innovation has to do with something. I don't know. Let's imagine our checkout sucks, and let's imagine our search results are confusing. Let's just pretend. Okay, now we need to come up with we have the goal. The goal is to make people buy more often in reasonable, ethical, good ways. We know some of our root causes. Hey, now that we've done that research, we can see that our root causes are these problems with our checkout and these problems with our search results. Now we can write our problem statements. Here's the exact problems and how we know what's going on. For those of you who've seen some of my other shows, we can always make a Delta CX impact map, which you can find on the Delta CX YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and write Delta CX impact map. There will actually be 2 videos on it. You can watch either one. And so now that we have some sense of what we're doing and why, we don't know the solution yet. We don't know what the screens should look like. We haven't decided what the search results should look like or the exact screens for a better checkout. We just know that these are the problems we're going to solve. Now we're being strategic. We have gone from a larger company or business goal to where are the problems and the root causes, and how will we strategically approach these? Now we can say, what's the planning? We can prioritize these and we can do the planning. So we can say, to make search results better, we're going to need design to work for this many days or weeks, including rounds of testing, and we're going to need engineering to fix some database stuff so that our search results are better, more relevant, better information, good metadata, or whatever other thing we found is the root cause of why our search results suck. That's the phone call I've been waiting for all day. And of course, here it is. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I think there's a subscription message under there. Thank you. So hopefully to the person who asked this is starting to make sense, that we have goals, we have strategies, now we have the initiatives that we're going to do. Hey, now we can strategically approach improving user conversions with the initiatives of improving the search results and improving the checkout. Again, not because we guessed these, but because we did the right research to inform our strategies, to inform our decisions and prioritization. Someone chime in. Is this making sense? Am I explaining strategy okay? Is this confusing? I really love this little camera touch-up thing. Worth what I paid. So, yeah. And then from there, you've got project planning. Hey, we need this much time. We need this much time. We need more time. Can you get us more time? No. Can you get us more people? It'd go faster if we only get this amount of time. How about 2 of us? This is where that when you get to that level of planning, there's probably going to be some negotiations. And now we're really in the work, but we should still be guided by our strategy. Our strategy is to improve user conversions by making the site better for them in these 2 areas where research showed us we have opportunities. The opposite of that, in my opinion, would be less strategic. The company says we want more conversions. We want a higher conversion rate. We want people buying more often from us. The team gets together, brainstorms or workshops and says, what do we think we can do? What if we offer them more coupons? Oh yeah, maybe they'll buy more for us if we give them a discount. Okay, more coupons. What if we get them to sign up to our mailing list and we are reminding them weekly how great we are and what our new products are? Yeah, get more people on the mailing list. It's really easy to get together and just start throwing stuff at a wall aimed completely at satisfying the business goals. But when we want to find the balance between the business goals and what's going to work best for users, then I think you have to be more strategic. Does that mean that deciding to try to get more people to sign up for the newsletter isn't strategic? It could be, but I find in general these are kind of one-dimensional. You know, it's like, hey, what can we do to make people do this thing we want them to do? And we don't totally care sometimes about what's right for the people or what they need or what would make them naturally do what we were hoping they would do. LinkedIn user, to counter this question, please give us an example of how will early adopters play a role in determining the success of the MVP? Okay, let me just copy and paste that into what will be the YouTube description. And we'll add that in before the other anonymous question. Thank you to the person who asked that. Let me press refresh on LinkedIn and see who that was. Hello again. Please help me with your name. How many syllables is it? Jabulile? I'm just going to make everyone, I guess, Italian by accident. Okay, let's get that question up on the screen and let's talk about that. Here we go. How would you create a strategy for a product that doesn't exist yet? In essence, I just did. Roll back the video, because we might say, do we need separate strategies for research and IA? They're very large spheres. I tend to, it depends. Is your IA work part of research? Is it part of design? It's probably both. If you're doing it right, there's going to be some IA in the research and some IA in the strategy. I'm just answering Karen quickly, and then we'll go back to the larger question on the screen. So to me, there's an overarching UX strategy. Those of you familiar with Larry Marine and the videos we did on the Delta CX YouTube channel, ProFlowers sells occasions. It doesn't have, the strategy doesn't have to say, we're going to make more people buy from our site by changing our search results to be like this, and here's a screen I drew. That's not necessarily a strategy at that point. So it's okay if a strategy is more level. Oh, great, I'm doing okay with your name. Thank you. Jabulile. I think how am I doing? Help. Okay, so let's talk about your question, because it's great. What's the strategy for a product that doesn't exist yet? In that sense, you absolutely need that research. Otherwise, you're back in that guessing scenario I just gave you. You'll have a startup or co-founders who say, hey, you know, we think everybody out there needs a pink fly swatter. So, hey, what's our strategy? Our strategy, make a pink fly swatter. That's not totally a strategy. So, you know, a strategy should be able to say, what's the problem, and do we have a general high-level look at how we're going to solve it? So, for example, in the last example, our strategy, our goal was, we want people to convert more. We want them to buy more often. Okay, how are we going to do that? We're going to do that through researching and truly understanding users and where our product or service or company is missing something or getting something wrong or has room to offer people something we weren't. Could be an innovation, could just be something fresh. So that's a strategic plan to satisfy a user need or multiple user needs that would lead to satisfying a business goal. So again, we're really talking about product strategy, business strategy, product market fit. So where you have something that doesn't exist yet, you've got to learn what is going to be that best balance. What is going to satisfy the business goals, which are probably the early adopters. If you're really that early in a company, you're just hoping people will sign on. And sometimes you worry later about them being happy or staying or paying. But you should be worried about that early, because if you get them to sign on, but they're not happy and they don't stay, you still have failed. So to be strategic, you would have to really look at that longer arc. Otherwise, you're just going for the short-term win of, hey, we can claim that we had people sign up. Okay, but if they didn't stay, then Congratulations. You know, that's like, hey, I went on 10 dates this week. Great. Did you like anybody? No, they were all jerks. Well, congratulations on your 10 dates. So, how will early adopters play a role in determining the success of the MVP? Hard to say. I don't even love the concept of the MVP. So we have a larger conversation there. But let's say you're putting something out to the public and you need early adopters. Remember, early adopters are only a first step on the path to success. If they adopt, but they're not happy, they're not staying, and they're not paying. So you can have early adopters and then you can lose them. So you have to have a strategy that says, how will we win people? How will we get them to join or try? How will we make them happy? And then how will we keep them? And it's potentially pay as well. I mean, this is part of what my book is about. If you're familiar with it, Customers Know You Suck. It is about, let's get it up on the camera. Understand, attract, and retain customers. Every business of every size has to do this. Apple has to do it. Microsoft has to do it. You have to do it. A startup has to do it. So if you don't know what you're building yet, that's fine. It really is. But you have to start somewhere. You can start generally. Hey, we think we want to make something related to bicycling for people in their 40s. Congratulations. Great place to start. You don't even have to know what it is yet. We can definitely come up with the research that will tell us more about what this could be. That to me is being strategic. It's strategic to say, let's make sure we have evidence and knowledge before we just make a thing. So a lot of startups get caught up in build, test, learn. Why aren't you learning first? Puts a slice of learning before that building so that you can be strategically moving in the right direction and not just throwing darts at a dartboard and going, cycling for people in their 40s, I think they want a bright yellow suit. Yes? No? Let's just try it. So risky, so wasteful. You get a bunch of people to try on the yellow suit, and then they go, I don't like the yellow suit, and now that's it, you've lost them. So to me, it's the early adopters aren't really the success of the MVP. The success of the MVP is, did we build something that solves a real problem for our target audience? If it doesn't solve a real problem, you could win some early adopters, but they're not going to stay. They're just not. I hope that helped. Follow-up question while I take a drink? Oh, let me see if I'm missing any. Okay. All right, let's, I'll queue up our next question, which was the one with the LinkedIn URL, which I may or may not be able to bring into the show experience. I am not prepared for that, but let's start with what the question is and see how it goes. Alrighty. Let's see if we can answer this without even looking at the LinkedIn URL because, let's see. I'm noticing a lot of medical device companies are looking for those with UX research experience and market research experience. Some job descriptions are a bit jumbled together. For example, the one at GE listed below. Okay, it's a job description. What are your thoughts on roles like this? Do you think it's more market research, UX research, or something completely new? All right. Yeah, I hope I can help you there. All right, sounds like we're going to have to visit a website together, even though I'm not prepared for that. So give me a moment to try to get my screen ready and not completely embarrass myself. Please hold. All right, let's put up this and let's put up this. Did that work? Yes? No? Oh, I still have the... Hold on. I still have the question on the screen. That's going to have to come off. All right. Oop. I'm not on the screen. Okay. I didn't fix that. So I'm not on the screen. I'm a black box, but that's okay. You don't need to look at me. You can look at a black box. And then here's the chat room. All right. Let's see. develop evidence plans, coordinate multiple projects, generate evidence, studies demonstrating operational and or financial outcomes. Okay, so they want to make sure whatever research you do has some sort of impact. Understandable. Identify and manage external contractors undertaking studies on behalf of, okay, this sounds like a manager job. Is this a manager? Health economics and outcomes research lead. Okay, so as a lead, you definitely are leading. These are manager sounding things, because when they say identify and manage external contractors undertaking studies, it sounds like you might be doing a little bit of research yourself, and you might be coordinating outside agencies or freelancers doing the research, which means please hire us at Delta CX. Yes, thank you very much. Where appropriate, undertake in-house studies and related activities. So again, some of this work is going to be done by you and your team. Sometimes you're just managing outside people. Questionnaire design, field studies, literature reviews. Okay, I mean, that right there, questionnaire design, that's going to be some sort of survey, so probably a little more quant than qual. Field studies should be highly qual and not quant at all. And literature review is Google something and hope it's not from these people who keep lying in their research. So yeah, this sounds like mixed methods, qual and quant. Let's see. Communicate evidence plans and study results to, okay, write good reports, make good presentations, communicate stuff, develop things for marketing so that you can communicate value, present research findings at professional congresses, and publish in peer-reviewed journals. This sounds to me like they're going to want you to have university degrees and possibly to be able to write at an academic level, because when they talk about peer-reviewed journals, this sounds quite academic. I would expect that they want a master's or a PhD, so I'm really surprised to see that they want a bachelor's. Experience in healthcare, conducting research to evaluate the impact of new medical technologies on users. That's really specific, and it sounds like they want to see that you've done this before. So this would be research of just that. So that's going to be probably some qual and some quant. Working with a market research environment, understanding qual and quant, market and customer research methods from design to execution. Okay, so to go back to the original question, and I'll press a couple of buttons and put that question back up and put the chat room back up in case anyone says anything. Is this market research, UX research, or something new? I think it's just a blend. I think it's just a blend of, I think it's mostly CX UX research, because they do want you to do qual stuff and focus groups. Not focus groups, field studies. That's what it said. They want you to do all these things. Hi, it's my mother-in-law. Ciao. Siamo dal vivo. Perché Gilberto sta facendo un lavoro e non mi può fare l'altro. Okay, we got the update from Pier Mario's mom. So as I was saying, I see a lot of qual in it, which makes me happy. I see a little bit of quant in it, which is normally required, but it seems like they really expect you to have that medical or medical technology or medical device background. They're probably not going to settle for someone who hasn't done that, and it sounds like they're going to need you to write academically. So whether they call this market research, UX research, I'd probably call this CX research, just because it does seem to combine some UX and some market research. But at the same time, to me, when market research is done well, it sometimes looks like UX research. So I think it's less important what we call it, and more important, do you qualify for the job? So thank you for that interesting question with the interesting link to a probably interesting job with a well-known company, and they are looking for something rather specific, so hopefully someone out there watching fits. We're going to wind down the show a little early today. I know the countdown timer says 6 more minutes. I do have another phone call in about 10 minutes, and so I just want to make sure we're wrapping up. So if you have questions, we'll add them to next week's show. There will be a show next Tuesday. It's going to be me alone. John N.A. Brown can't make it. That would normally be the day he would join. Sorry to disappoint everybody. It will be just me, but if you do send in a question to deltacx.com/links, the office hours Ask Me Anything, we'll get it on the list for next week. Other than that, the next shows will be tomorrow's show on mental health. A lot of people have been struggling with the economy, the job market, and hey, the world. So we're going to have Dr. Seth Finkel back to talk about that. So please make sure you're subscribed here so that you know. Also, if you're subscribed here, you might have noticed that something went live yesterday here on the new CXCC channel, Customer Experience, Customer Centricity. My audiobook for Customers Know You Suck is now completely live as a playlist on the channel. The audiobook is completely free. So you have the opportunity to listen to it here on YouTube at no charge. You can still leave an Amazon review. You just won't be a verified purchase. So please spread the word that the audiobook is available for free now on our YouTube channel here. I guess I can take down this question. Also, we're going to have, so that's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Italy time. Thursday, we're going to be talking about my new article, 2023 is UX Agile. I think I hear my dog snoring. Does anyone else hear that? And Friday, we do have Critical Thinking stream planned, which would be over on the Delta CX channel so that we don't put anything too ranty on the new channel. But I've only been sent one thing. So if we don't get more things, I'll cancel it. But you would send in Critical Thinking stuff to deltacx.com/links. And then we do have just two shows planned for next week, because next week is the Space Workshop. If you'd like to join the workshop, which is strategizing products and customer experiences, Space, it's only 99 American dollars for 3 half days, and it is the super fun, super interactive workshop version of Customers Know You Suck. So for just $99, you can join in on that. I'm offering them in 2 different time zones this month, so something will work for where you live. So head over to cxcc.to/space, SPACE, and sign up now. We still have seats. I think we have about 12, 15 people coming to each one so far. So we've got a good small group, but happy to welcome more peeps. All right, I better get ready for my next call, so I'm going to play us out of here and also see if there's something that my mother-in-law was trying to tell me. And everybody have a super day, and I will see you all tomorrow for our podcasts on mental health. Thanks, and catch you later.